Brian, just coming off of this loss, what did you tell the girls at the end? I know had a chance there at the end to maybe level it up. What do you take from this?
Yeah, I mean, I said not gonna say a whole lot right now without watching, video. Right, we're all pretty emotional right now, but it is a problem that we've given up 6 goals in 2 games, and we need to take a hard look at that. Right, our collective defending and the reasons why. They don't seem to have to work that hard for good chances, and we have to work hard for good chances. So we need to look at that, and then we need to all, right, look in the mirror and see what we can do better. I said I still believe that Stanford's a very good team. Notre Dame's a very good team. I thought in a lot of ways we had good performances, and we leave both games feeling like we let games get away from us. Right? So globally, we're a good team, but we got to figure out exactly what we need to clean up, and we got to clean it up if we're going to give ourselves a chance to win a trophy. And then I said we got to be able to do that, and at the same time be intelligent and not let this be a hangover going into Sunday. Right? We gotta play a good Cal team on Sunday, and we gotta be able to evaluate and turn the page at the same time, and be ready to go against Cal.
Coach, what happened there at the end? So we had she went back, the referee went back and looked at it and everything at the 137 mark, I think it was, and it looked like Jordan, went down. What did she say to you? What did the ref say to you?
She spent about 3 to 5 minutes, whatever it was, looking at the handball in this corner.
Okay.
And then she explained that it wasn't a handball. And I said, what are we talking about? I said, look on the video board, because there was a foul in the corner of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then it was all a mess. And I think she did look at the foul, at the Jordan situation, but very briefly, because the whole thing had been a bit of a mess, because we spent 5 minutes looking at the wrong thing. And then all of a sudden there was a decision on the Jordan situation, with potentially without a throw look. Make sense?
What was the explanation when Jordan scored down here and got into kind of a scuffle with the goalie? What was the ref's explanation for that?
She said that Jordan might have initiated the push, and then the Stanford girl retaliated, and said she's happy to continue on or happy to give both of them yellows. And we said, let's just play it.
What did the talk at halftime kind of look like, and how did you have to adjust the play and the team you had out there?
We showed them some clips and showed them some of the good moments that we had in the first half. And maybe this is a mistake. We didn't look at the goals, but we talked about the quality of our clearances need to be good, and our tracking in the midfield needs to be good, because that's what happened on the two goals. And so we just said we gotta tighten up defensively, but keep plugging away and creating chances and find pockets when their back line drops, and pockets in the midfield, or can we find balls in behind? And felt like we played a decent first half, and I think our team, even came out first 5-6 minutes and we were pretty good. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what just happened, right? We just gave up a goal, and that might have stung us a bit, So we just, in addition to some of the tactics, we just talked about, hey, look, we didn't get played off the park here. We had a decent first half. We can get 2 goals. Let's just get the first and keep plugging away. And I think they came out of the locker room with that belief.
How does the result of tonight shift the team's mindset and sense of urgency for the Cal match?
I think we've been pretty urgent. I think, our kids are pretty distraught right now because of last week's result and then tonight's result. I don't think we need to talk about, crazy urgency or anything like that. We just have to talk about this not being a hangover, and that's why I told them, I said we just need to be mature and responsible, and look at stuff and be ready to go on Sunday.
Coach, it does seem like you're shortening up your bench, at least in the last game or so. Is that what we should expect going forward? Are you getting more comfortable with the rotation in that respect?
Yeah, good question. And I told our team after the Notre Dame game, I said, look, this was a 1-game weekend. Obviously, this was a 2-game weekend. But I told them, I said, trust me, like we need more bodies, and we there's more room, right, for players to get on the field. And Maya Brandon, I'd say, was the first example of that tonight. Dantas got a little run in the second half, and so I think some of maybe went on the first half of the season. So many players, what kind of rhythm do we get, right? And how does that impact us? Mimi in midfield, right, kind of takes away one midfield spot, right? And so that's a little bit hard. We've been trying to find 4 wing backs, 4 forwards. So, I don't know what we're going to see moving forward. I think we have good players that aren't playing right now. Right. Either playing very limited minutes or no minutes. And it's like, all right, what's that balance? And, we're going to give more kids opportunities, or we're going to ride the kids that are playing well. And, there's no magical answer. And obviously when you don't win, then everything becomes a little bit opened up and open to, evaluation and scrutiny. And, Sunday, we got to bounce back. And so we're going to go a little deeper on Sunday, just by virtue of, tonight and what the kids put out. And I believe in the kids that are on the bench, that they can give us, a lot of good minutes and help us win a game.
You mentioned the chances earlier. I know you're working hard for your chances, and it feels like you get in that rhythm, you get in that flow, you get in front of goal, and it just kind of, that last little second, it just shuts off. How do you approach that in practice and in games when you're getting those opportunities, but they're just not finding the back of the net?
Yeah, again, it's a fine line, like we talked about after the NC State game, I think, right? How much you were talking about it, how much you spending time in front of goal. We had 5 out of 17, at least according to the scoreboard. Maybe this tells me something different on the box score.
6, I think.
Right, but about 33% of our shots on frame, right? And I think I've said this before. We're trying to get 40 to 45% of our shots on frame, but some of them, it's like Rihanna's header. I've joked with teams in the past, if you guys head a ball into the floor and it bounces over the crossbar, I'll do 100 push-ups, right? Because she did such a great job technically, and it just doesn't happen. But I can't really think of a moment where we made Caroline Burkle make a great save. So again, fine line, right? Between we did some finishing yesterday, and they were really good in front of goal. It's a lot harder when it's real and there's pressure and there are things, right? And they have good defenders. They have a good team. Their back four was pretty committed to defending, right? And it made it hard for us.
You talked a little bit about needing to look at your defense moving forward. Addie seemed to face just a little bit of struggle tonight in the goal. What kind of support or reassurance did you offer her?
Yeah, I actually didn't say look at our defense, our defending, right? Yes. Which is the whole team, yes. Right? And so, whether that's a forward not applying the pressure we need or midfield, whatever. So it's everybody. And then in terms of Addie, right? I personally just left her alone at halftime. Felt like there were some other things I needed to deal with and address. I'm sure Micah had a word with her, and after the game, I mean, Addie's important to this team from a leadership standpoint, and we all love Addie, and obviously she's upset right now.
Last for me, the pitch. It seemed like early in the first half, people were sliding all over the place, and it wasn't good footing. Did you guys change your spikes or anything? Because I didn't really see it as much in the second half.
Yeah, and great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Right? They might have, right before we were looking at video, before we went in with the team. I didn't address it. I think Soleil slipped. I forget who else slipped in a wide area.
Right.
No, but thankfully, you're right. It wasn't an issue.